If it looks too good to be true, just run away. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Shalina, and in today's video I want to talk about second-hand shopping. So when I talk about this, I know that in the US you refer to it as like thrifting. We so much in the UK don't so much have like thrifting, but we don't have those big massive stores where they sell loads of second-hand items. We have charity shops which tend to be quite small, really hit or miss whether you're going to find anything that you actually like. So I tend to stick to buying second-hand online. There are loads of online places where you can buy second-hand nowadays, whether you're buying just high street items or you want something more premium and luxury. You know, there's something for everyone basically. So in today's video I want to talk about some of the things you should look out for. I want to show you some of the things that I've bought second-hand and talk to you about my experience, and then as a seller some of the things that you want to make sure you do as a seller. Okay, so in this video I'm going to be focusing on buying online. It's the way I buy my second-hand items. I don't really do the whole charity shop thing. I just find you have to filter through so much stuff to even find like a gem. So yeah, I tend to do online because I just find it easier to filter by what I'm looking for. Sometimes if I see something in a store or something from a while back that I had wanted and I couldn't get my hands on, then you know, I'll often search for that. But there's so many ways you can filter it down that I just think it's so much easier to just do online second-hand shopping. So I tend to filter by new with tag, new without tag, or very good condition. That way I know I'm getting something decent that is going to last me. Always be sure to look for these things. So number one, check their reviews. Always go for someone who's at least got a few reviews, and decent reviews at that. There are so many fake accounts popping up now, mainly selling things that are luxury or of the moment. So for example, ultra mini Uggs are all over Instagram. You know, they'll have those on there for like £150. I think if they were genuine, they'd probably be selling them for more, but they want to make that slightly more attractive to you to sort of draw you in. Always check if they've got reviews, and generally I find genuine people are selling more than one thing. I'm not saying that's always the case, but it tends to be. So where I see accounts that don't have any reviews, aren't selling anything else, the pictures look like they've been taken in a showroom or something like that. It's probably pictures used from like China showroom or wherever they're manufactured. So someone's just probably taken those images from online and then are using those to sell counterfeit items. So you might get something, it could be counterfeit, or you might get nothing and they've just taken your money. I'd say vintage probably are fairly okay at protecting you against stuff like that, but I wouldn't always guarantee it. And I think if you go on Trustpilot and have a look at some of the reviews on some of the secondhand websites, they're not great. So always take things with a pinch of salt. I think it's best to go by the saying, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. There are YSL handbags on Vinted for like £195, and I think it's safe to say that most bags, YSL bags, will not be sold for £195. So don't get sucked in. If it looks too good to be true, just run away. And then things you should be asking. So if you are going to be buying online, don't forget to ask these questions. And I only say this because this is coming from my experience of buying online. So number one, what are the washing instructions? I have bought a few things that are like Zara do not wash. Any Zara do not wash though, I just put on hand wash and it's been fine. But washing instructions, be realistic. If it's dry clean only, are you going to go and get it dry cleaned? Just be realistic with what you're actually going to do. Even if it's a bargain, if you're not actually going to wash it and then it ends up not being worn, is it worth it? Number two, does it smell of perfume? I think it's important to ask that. I've had things that smell of perfume and then I cannot get the perfume smell out, and I probably recognize it even more because it's not perfume that I wear, so I can smell it even more, if that makes sense. So just, it might be worth asking the question. They might smell it and say no, it doesn't, because they're just used to the smell, but it's probably something to bear in mind. I'm gonna have to Febreze some things down, let's just say that. The next thing to ask is about the length. So just make sure the length is good for you. I always, if there's a picture of them wearing it, then I ask them their height, because then I can get a gauge. I'm 5'3", so I'm, you know, shorter than most, but I always ask for what their height is so that I can then measure and see where it's going to fall on me and make sure that I'm happy with it. Made the mistake once of not asking and they are a bit too short, but I'll probably still wear them. And the last thing is, don't be afraid to bargain. I think like there's no reason why you can't ask for a discount. Don't just buy things, you know, at the selling price. I think always ask if you can have a discount. The worst they're going to say is no. If you still really want it, then go for it. I think have a price in mind that you'd want to pay, and then just take it from there, and probably maybe don't go over. I think sometimes when things are, you know, have a lot of likes next to them, it will kind of, you feel the pressure to kind of like buy it, but don't necessarily feel that. Only pay for what you think it's worth. Okay, and then a couple of tips for when you're selling. If you've got something that you think is going to be high demand or is really popular or on trend at the moment, then definitely put the price higher than what you'd actually want to get. You might find that someone will actually buy it because they really want it, or they'll ask you for a discount, in which case you can give them a discount to the price you actually wanted to get for it. I don't think there's any harm in that. Obviously, if you've had it up there for a few weeks and you're not seeing any movement, then maybe mark it down a bit, but definitely go in higher than what you want to get for it. Be as descriptive as possible. I think this is where you can eliminate chances of misinterpretation of the product, or people like asking for a refund or giving you a bad review. If you've listed exactly what the product is, if you've made any amendments to the product while you've had it, or if there's any damage to it, just be upfront, be honest. If someone still wants to buy it, they will, but I think that's the best way to make sure you get the best reviews. And then always post items out on time. I think, again, if you want to keep the review score good, which means people will come and buy from you more, then definitely make sure you're posting out on time. Just have some packing materials on hand, especially if you're doing this quite often. I just keep packing materials from parcels that I've got, like when I do my online orders, I just keep them in a box, and then when I need to send something out, I'll just remove my address label and stick theirs on, so I don't have to go out and buy extra packaging. And then always keep your proof of shipment, just to make sure that you're covered. If the parcel goes missing, you've got proof that you sent it. If it's something like at a higher price point, I definitely would take a picture of you wrapping it and sending it. I know that sounds a bit silly, but just so you've got yourself covered, especially if it's a lot of money. A lot of these websites tend to side with the buyer, so if they for any reason believe that you may not have sent it when you have, you've just got a bit of evidence there to cover yourself. And then the last thing is selling things for £1 or £2. I've seen these on websites like Thrifted. I think it's asking yourself whether it's worth your time to sell things for such a low price point, but you know, could you just give them to charity instead? So just in terms of my experiences buying online, I'd say definitely it's been quite positive. I've had a few disasters. One was I bought an All Saints jacket. The lady who sold it sent me some boots that she had sold to someone else. So me and the other person had to send each other the parcels, but it actually worked out. It was okay in the end. And then I got the All Saints jacket, and then it really smelled strongly of perfume. I kept it outside for quite some time, and I also took it to be specialist dry cleaned. And the smell, I mean, whilst the smell got better, I did contact the lady and she said she had put something on her neck and that must have rubbed off on the jacket. It was a really strong smell, and whilst the leather cleaning did get some of the smell out, I could still smell it a little bit. So I relisted it on Vinted, and then someone else bought it, but I relisted it stating that the jacket had a slight smell and to bear that in mind. So I was just really honest about it, and I actually managed to sell it, covering off some of the costs that I paid for the leather dry cleaning, so I didn't lose out too much money in the end, so that was a relief. And then just other things that have maybe gone slightly wrong is just length of things, which is why I said definitely ask the length. I think I also tend to go with the retailers that I'm familiar with, because I know the fit, I know how it fits on my body, I know what size I am with those retailers, so there's less room for error, I guess. I tend to stick with things from Zara and just the shops that I go to most of the time. Obviously with bags and accessories and things like that, you won't have so much of an issue, but in terms of clothing, I definitely stick to retailers that I know. Or what you can do is, if something is still in stock in stores, you can go try it on in store and then check and see if you can buy it secondhand. So I just want to show you some of the things that I bought secondhand. So this one is from Vestiaire Collective. Generally my experience with Vestiaire has been fine. I've only bought two things on Vestiaire. One of them is this Monica Vinader necklace. It's the thick, I think it's called Ulta necklace that I've wanted for a while. It retails for $5.95 I think, and I got it for $300 on Vestiaire Collective. But for me that was a really good deal. It was never worn. I can see that it's never been worn. It looks brand spanking new, so really pleased with that one. And then the other thing I bought is my Fendi bag. This one I have always wanted for forever, so I thought I'd just bite the bullet and go for it. Again, it was really true to description, and it's in really good condition, so I was really pleased with that. Also, it means that if I ever decide to sell it, I've got the proof of authenticity, and then I've also got the Vestiaire dust bag as well, so I will hang on to that just in case I decide to part with it one day. And then just a couple of quick not so great purchases. I mean, I didn't spend a lot on these, so it's not too much of an issue, but this embroidered dress from Zara, I mean, it's a really old style now, but I always liked it and I never bought it, and then I saw it on a second-hand site and I was like, right, I've got to have it. I think I paid like £8 for it, but it's really short at the front. It's got a dip 10, you want me to see it? So it's a little bit short at the front, so I should have asked for the measurements of that one. I just kind of assumed that it would be fine considering I'm 5'3". I think it could be an idea to also ask people why they're selling it if you want to know. I mean, a lot of the time people sell stuff because they're just not wearing it anymore and it might not be their style anymore, but you know, if you really want to ask the question, there's no harm in that. And then these shorts, which I do love and I have worn, they are slightly too short though. I wish I had asked for the measurements on this one. But yeah, again, another Zara purchase. Most of the stuff I do buy is Zara stuff, but yeah, I wish I had asked for the measurements on that because that could have worked out a little bit better. So I think it's just important to remember that just because things are slightly cheaper, don't go crazy with the secondhand shopping. I think just buy things that you actually really do need, or you know, feel like you're missing in your wardrobe. Okay guys, so that brings me to the end of the video. I hope I gave you some good tips for buying and selling online. I know when I have a clear out, I will give myself a deadline in terms of how long I'm going to leave things listed until I just take them to the charity shop and let someone else have them. I don't want to hang on to things for too long. I think it just causes more clutter in the mind, so give yourself a little deadline, and if you haven't sold things by then it might be worth just parting with them and not having the hassle of worrying about them. And if you're buying, just be careful of any fake accounts and things like that, but generally, like I said, my experience has been a good one, and I hope yours will be too. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.